All right, everybody. Today we're going to talk about why you only need three things to be healthy. So, why does health feel so hard? It really isn't. Why does health feel so complicated? Like we have to do all of these things and it takes all this effort, money, and time when our body's literally designed to heal. Most families that we meet in our office are doing all kind of things for their health, yet they still feel like something's really kind of missing. And what if you're, a lot of times this is what we say. We say, what if it's really just not about adding more, but what if we just need to get really good at the basics? Let's just start with that, right? And that gives people a lot of permission because they feel like, oh man, I've been doing all these things and I need to try harder and work harder. But when we take them through this framework, a lot of times they're like, man, this is really simple and they see really good results. So today I want to show you the three foundational things that every healthy body needs. And if one thing's missing, that's where things can kind of go wrong. So if we haven't met before, my name is Dr. Spencer Dupre. I'm the founder and a chiropractor at Empower Chiropractic. We're out here in Argyle, Texas. And so we specialize in kids, pregnancy, and family wellness. But regardless of the age, this is the framework that we look at for every single person, whether they're super young or super old. So the biggest thing that we have to really start to understand is that the body doesn't speak English. So this is why a lot of times it's hard to put in words what we're feeling or how things hurt, because just like your car, the body sends signals, right? Your cars don't speak English and neither do our bodies, but they do give specific signals based off of what they need. Most people, they don't get angry when the car says, hey, I need to be filled up with gas, right? When you see that little gas tank light, that just means, hey, we're running low on fuel. And it sends that before it's a problem, before it breaks down. Same thing with the check engine light, low tires, low battery, all those things. And so our body does the exact same, whether your baby is crying because they're hungry, whether your neck hurts because it's stiff and tight, whether your tummy hurts because of something that we ate, the body will send a signal based off of what it needs. And so turning them off is not actually the solution, but figuring out why they're turning on in the first place is the answer. So this is why babies cry is they don't speak English. And so the only way that they can communicate is through their crying and their babbling, just like the only way the car can communicate to us is by sending the signals, right? And so we don't get upset whenever the baby cries because the baby is just trying to ask us to help. The baby's just trying to ask for help for what they need. So this is how the body works. So the three things that you need to be healthy, I break it down in this framework. We call it the health pyramid. A lot of people know about the food pyramid, but the most important thing about the health pyramid is the sides of the pyramid. These are the foundational pillars of your health. And these three things are the most important. So the biggest three things that your body needs is kind of like your car. It needs good fuel, it needs good parts, and it needs a driver to get it where it needs to go. And so if one of these things breaks down, then it's like having a hole in the bucket, and the hole in the bucket will make a lot of things less effective. And so that's what it needs. Most people, they really focus on the first two, but the third one is usually where we see people are missing out on. And so we're going to talk about a lot today about how the car is really similar to the body, and that's how we're going to break it down. So the first pillar in the health pyramid for the car is fuel. And so fuel is food in the body. The food that we eat fuels our body. And more importantly, it fuels what we call our physiology. Physiology just means the chemical processes of the body. This is a lot of stuff that lab work is looking at. But food is the fuel for the chemistry in the body. And a lot of times we don't need more diet trends. What we need is better quality food. And so this is just like going to the gas station and there's different grades of fuel that you can put in the car. Just like there's better fuel and there's cheaper fuel, the same works with our food. There are really good foods that we can eat, and there are foods that are maybe not so great. Depending on which one we put into our body is going to determine how the body runs. So higher quality food leads to higher quality chemical processes in the body. Bad fuel can lead to, just like in the car, it can lead to the engine smoking. It can make things squeaky. Low quality fuel, low quality food. Like I love French fries, but I try to not eat so many of them because it leads to more fatigue. It can lead to gut health issues, and it can lead to inflammation. It's just harder for the body to heal when it's not running on the fuel that it's designed to burn. So, but the biggest thing is that the food does not heal you. The food gives you the raw materials that your body needs to actually do the work, right? If you're building a house, the wood is not the thing that actually builds the house. The wood is the material that's the builder is using to actually make the house. So that is why fuel is so important in the body. And a lot of people understand that in their car. If you have the wrong fuel, then it doesn't work as well. So the next pillar in the health pyramid that we talk about is movement. And movement's like the parts in the body, right? So movement is your muscles, joints, ligaments, tendons. It's just like all of the engine parts, the tires, the wheels, the windows, the doors, all that stuff in your car, right? And so you don't need a six pack to be healthy, but what we do need is parts that work, right? Just like you don't have to drive a race car, but you do need something that works and gets you from A to B, right? And so, but what we do need in the body is we need good strength, we need mobility, and the body needs to be adaptable. What adaptability means is that when you sit, the body doesn't get super tight. When you exercise, the body doesn't break down, right? So we can have a full tank of gas, but if the car has a flat tire, it's not going to go anywhere. So we can have a really, really clean diet, but if our body is not strong, it's going to be harder for us to be healthy. So movement keeps the body adaptable, and stuck bodies will send loud signals. Just like cars, if you don't maintenance the parts, it squeaks really loud, right? And it's really hard to drive. So the number 3, this is the most important one. And this is where we feel like people miss the mark a lot of times. And it's the thing that we feel like goes the most. We feel like people really don't pay attention to this one as much because it's not talked about as much. But the driver is the most important part of the car because full tank of gas, you can have a brand new car with brand new parts. But if the driver has no idea where it's going, then it's going to be really hard to drive. So think about it. If you're in a parking lot and you're going into a parking space, and I'm sure we've all seen it before, but if you see a car that's double parked, crooked and sideways, you don't think, oh, this is a crooked car. You think, man, that driver parked it poorly, right? And so the driver in the car is the nervous system for the body. And so this is how we look at the body. We don't say, oh man, look how bad this posture is. We say, man, the nervous system must not be controlling the posture as well. Because the nervous system is your brain and it's your spinal cord. This is the software that runs your body. It's the driver that drives the body. And so when we see things that are going on in people's health, a lot of times we ask, does the nervous system understand what it needs to do and what is going on? And so the driver is the one that's behind the wheel. It controls the direction of where the car is going to go. And so that means that your brain and your spinal cord determines how you move, how you digest food, how you heal, how you handle stress. And so if we see a crooked body, it's not like a crooked car, but it's just a confused driver, right? And so this is how we look at people's health, right? When the nervous system is overwhelmed and it's disconnected, the body struggles, and it makes it a lot harder to use the fuel that we give it and to use the parts that we have. So why this gets missed is that a lot of people, they chase things like labs and supplements and exercises, and all of those things matter, just like fuel matters, good parts matter in the car. But if the driver has no idea where it's going, he's always going to get in a wreck. If you constantly text and drive, it's easier to get in a wreck. So if the nervous system is constantly juggling all kinds of stress, whether it's physical stress, chemical stress, or emotional stress, because of our diet, our lack of movement, or things that are going on in our life, it burns the nervous system out. And that's like having a distracted driver. So it makes it really easy to get into a wreck. This is why people chase so many internet trends. We have years of stress and overwhelm. We just try to slap something on there. It's like having a hole, not in the side of the bucket, but in the bottom of the bucket. If the hole is in the bottom of the bucket, not a single thing will be able to be held in the bucket because everything else will come out. So it's just like the nervous system, right? And so what we look at in the office through a chiropractic lens is we want to see how stressed is the nervous system, how distracted is the driver of the car. And so, what we do is we measure stress, tension, and inflammation through these things called the insight scans. It's these two little machines that go on the back, and one of them that listens to the hand. And what it does is it measures how distracted is the nervous system. And it actually gives us a performance grade, just like if you were being driver's ed. It gives us a grade out of 100 on how efficient the nervous system is at driving the body and working the body and running all the processes that the body has. Just like if you're in driver's ed, you're going to get a grade and say, do you pass the test or do you not? And so, chiropractic, what we do is when we see that there are places where the body needs help, just like in driver's ed, they're going to give you some direction. They're going to give you some processes to follow, and they're going to help you stay on the right path. And that's what chiropractic does. And we use the adjustment to do that, right? So we're teaching the brain how to drive the body appropriately, right? So that's what we do. This is how we give like a lot of holistic care to people, is because we just look at these three things. We look at, do we have good fuel? Do we have good parts? And most importantly, is the driver understanding where the body needs to go? So just what I would do, honestly, if I were you, is I would just take inventory and just think, what kind of fuel am I putting in my body? Do all my parts work? And am I too stressed out or distracted to actually be able to get myself where I want to go? Right? Health doesn't have to be complicated. All we have to do is just really support the foundations, and the body will take care of the rest. This is the first place to start. We can get really, really complicated, or we can just start with the basics and go from there. And so that's what we do in our office. And I hope this helped you guys out. If you have questions, just feel free to reach out to us.